Good morning today, 183. Later filming today because we've had a bit of a manic one. We're plastering inside the irrigation rooms over here. Also we said yesterday that we found that there is leakage coming into some of the storage areas downstairs, and it seems that it's coming from the actual irrigation rooms that weren't plastered with waterproof on the pool side. We've also got water in the pool room, pool pump room. Again, that backs onto the actual pool itself, which, as you can see, has got water in it. So we can only assume at the moment the water is going straight into the pool room, which also means that this is the irrigation. So the irrigation room's right along here, so that wasn't plastered. And I'm assuming from here, in here, hasn't been plastered either. So that's where the water will be going. We do have water going into this storage area slightly from here as well. So this is definitely a weakness we have. So we need to get that pumped out and got rid of. The guys have also been working on the front of the building, doing the rodding of the windows, trying to get the windows sorted, because in today the front of the windows and the rear of the windows are two different measurements. So to give you an example, the windows are going to be 2375, but we need 2350 coming this way so that the window sits up against the plaster. So that's one thing that the carpenters have been doing today, is obviously just doing some internal rodding. The external side, I'll give you a little bit of view of that, because obviously that's had time to dry. Obviously we've got the scratch coat on the front now, and the rods have been removed. But as you can see now, what we're going to have to do is obviously now take the mortar from the finished edge now wider, so we'll have to put another rod here. And obviously whatever that distance is going to be here, will that then be plastered over to here. The difficulty is we need the window to sit against the wall here, and we need the mortar to come up against the window. So each window, as you can see, is different. If you can see the actual measurement here, background that is, versus this side. So each window is different. So we're going to have to keep an eye on that, as you can see on the size of that one versus this one. So to get that window to 23.5 that way and 23.75 this way, every one of the windows is going to be different. So anyway, I'm very mindful we need to keep an eye on that before we do any form of plastering. Otherwise we'll then be chiseling plaster off, and that would be a disaster. Mozzies, lots of mosquitoes here today. So we've clearly got some fresh water that's gone stagnant. I would say that it's more than likely going to be downstairs in this basement. So we've had the guys actually get a pump down there and get the remainder of the water out, and then what we've got to do is get down there and get spraying. Again, there's still a little bit of water down there, so an idea, well, we need all of it out, not just some of it out. As you can see, mozzies flying around everywhere. So I've got this special stuff, and I'm going to get spraying, and hopefully they'll disappear. So that's the aim I'm going to get done in a minute. In here today we also got the door frames for here up. We measured the actual door frame outages. Everything is actually spot on from a height and width where this is concerned. Thank God we've done something right. This one is the only one that's a little bit off, because obviously we have the inner frame that hasn't been plastered yet, so this one's probably got about an inch put onto this. So again, we're going to rod, as they call it, rod on this side, rod on this side, and we're going to literally plaster all of this. Obviously we'll get that filled with concrete first, but we'll plaster all this into one lump, so it's exactly how we need it to be. And we also brought out one of the door thresholds to lay in here, and I was absolutely shocked to see that it was 10 inches short. I was thinking, oh my God, but it looks like that our door frames are about 4 3/4 either side, and they bolt onto the door threshold, which is quite strange. I always thought they bolted on from the top. But anyway, so it looks like they're floor mounted here, and the threshold sits up against it. I've never seen that before. I thought they were always mounted from the top. But anyway, I have to look at that, make sure they are 100%. Hopefully the doors have definitely been made 100% right. We've gone by the engineering drawings that were sent, so fingers crossed everything is good. The hole is definitely, all 4 holes are definitely as they should be from the engineering drawing, so hopefully the doors that we have in our hand now replicate what we actually have in real. Electrician turned up today to have a quick look at what's going on and just talk about, where we're going to be putting lights, where we need conduits, where there's going to be ceiling fans, where there's going to be chandeliers. So we'll get a little bit more of a clearer plan on that. And in here, we're going to start taking down all of the formwork. So the formwork is going to start coming down this weekend. Now, we don't have enough people, so I need to think about how I'm going to go and get some more people. So I need to start making some phone calls, and see how many people we can get. We probably need to get this down as quick as we need it to be down. We probably need 10 labourers. If we get 10 labourers, then we've got 2 sets of scaffolding in this room, starting at that end, and we've got 10 sets at this end, 5 at this end, starting at that end. So that's really what we need to do. But whether I'm going to be able to find extra people that are decent is a different matter. So let's make some phone calls and see what happens. Other than that, what else? We have had Bristol, the mason. He's out finishing off the bin and utility shed. So if I come to here, I'll show you what I mean. Bin shed, utility shed. So we've actually got the plastering on the top of the wall around here. This has all been done, and he's then been focused on the front and the inners today. So that's all looking good. We've just got to do the tops. We're going to put tops on them. And a nice job done on the side here as well. So again, we've got the rod there. So obviously once that's dry, the rod can come off, and then we can actually go down the side as well. And then it's the tops. So yeah, that's that bit. So things are starting to take shape. We've done a little bit more weldcreting today. And there were going to be somewhere, there were meant to be some rebar boys on site today. They started making the beam. It looks like they made the beam and got bored. So we talked about what the beam's going to look like over the garage. So we've got a 24-inch beam coming out of this wall that's going to go right across the front of the garage. We've got a 24-inch beam in the back that's going to go right across the back of the garage. We've got a 24-inch beam that's going to come across here and connect to here. And we've got another one from this corner here coming across here, and then the outer one as well. So they're all being fabricated in the next couple of days. But initially what we want to try and do is get the short piece connected into here, so we can get that blocked and get that filled. Yeah, and that's it. And then obviously when we're ready to do the rest, we can get out. There's no point building steel and putting it out in the open until you're ready, because otherwise it just corrodes. And then tomorrow we actually have the well starting. So we've got the excavation and the digging going on behind here tomorrow. And hopefully that'll be finished Monday, and then we can get all of this and all of this put over into here, and we can start getting it levelled out. So I've got some guys I know that can do a lorry. We just literally get an excavator around there, fill up the lorry, and the lorry can back up into here and drop off. We can't do anything at all until the well is in. And I think we might have a little bit too much mud, so we'll see. But again, we've got the height of the actual the steps over here and here. All of that's got to be raised the same level, so it's quite a bit of soil. So we'll see how that goes. But that's where we are. Check in throughout the day and give you an update on other things. 4 o'clock. Quick update on where we are. Okay, so the front bin utility shed is finished off, more or less, I think. Outside, all of the rods, I just forget the name. All the rods are in place. We've fumigated downstairs because the mozzies have been pretty vast. So we've got the water out, got that fumigated. And then today the guys have been mainly focusing on plastering out downstairs in the irrigation tanks. So you can see half of it's been done all the way around, and then the wall, the whole wall on this side here. So the wall that starts here and goes all the way down, which is around about 7 foot tall. That's all been plastered as well. So you can see just through here. That's been their focus today, to get that done, because that's what's been leaking through this wall here and going straight through into the storage area downstairs. And then this one down here is actually flooded as well. So tomorrow we're going to have to do, as you can see, lots of water in there. So we have to get down there, put a sump in there. I'll show you the sump actually. We just dug out a little sump here.
Like you want it.
Just a little sump now.
Like you want it. Put water with it. That's the thing there for the
There's a little sump. So now if it does obviously flood, which it will, we'll be able to put a sump straight into it and pump it, because the sumps themselves have got a base of around probably about 1.5 inches. And anything that's shallower than 1.5 inches just goes under, and it doesn't get the suction, it won't actually work. So you do a sump around them. I mean, a lot of people do deep ones. I mean, in here we've done 12 by 12, and I think we've done them about 6 inch deep, maybe 8 inch deep. But in here, just 2 inches, and then you can lower the sump straight down into it, and then just, if it doesn't find its way to it, then you can sweep the water to it and it just sucks it out. So, but they're irrigation tanks. They're designed to be full of water, and as you can see, I mean, you are talking 10 foot. So they're 10 foot wide by about 18 foot long. So there's quite a substantial amount of water that's in there. And they're fed via some tubes, which you can't really see because they're around about here somewhere in the wall. I might be able to see them from here. No, you can't. So basically the drain, as you can see up there, comes down through this building, through the floor here, and then travels alongside the floor inside there, and then comes through here, straight into the tanks. So the biggest problem we've got at the moment, obviously, is if it rains, then water is going to come straight into the gutter up on the roof here. It's going to find its way through, and it's going to pour into here. So hopefully we can get it dried before, obviously, we have any form of rainfall. Really, what we should do is get upstairs and duct tape over the actual the drain itself, just in case it does rain, because I don't want any in there at all. But tomorrow, obviously, we need to do the same on that one over there. Obviously, that's the pump room. The pump room has to be bone dry. So in order for it to pass code, it's going to have an electric meter down there, it's going to have electric supply down there, it's going to have an electric pump down there. In order for it to pass code, it's literally got to have a sump down there anyway, just in case. And that also has to have something that automatically pumps in case the water comes in. So if there is water, there should be a switch that clicks on, and then the water is pumped out. So we're going to have to find a pump with a float, and have to make a hole deep enough to make sure the float can actually operate. But yeah, so that's something we've got to look at doing. I'll show you very quickly the window rods that the guys have been doing. So as you can see here, the window's different. So again, it's rebeading and it's re-cementing. So this is actually going to be the bead they're going to use in the front. So the front will end up being 23.5 all the way down to this bead. But then the window will sit in here at 24 3/4. Sorry, 24 1/4. So it always bamboozles me why they start off with going bigger here. I personally would literally put something here and plaster to it, but they'll do it the other way around. They actually put the beads on the back, and then tomorrow what they'll do is they'll plaster along here and around here, and then they'll use a square touching this edge here to get where they need to be. But they have to make sure they're going to be back by about 3 inches, because the window, will fit to the wall here. Yeah, so they will have to plaster to here and all the way through. So it's a confusing one. But anyway, that's pretty much where we are with everything. Still got lots to do. I'm not too sure who's been doing that. Might have been Bristol that's been doing that. And that one's the worst one, the one on the end. So we need to look at getting that done sooner rather than later. That's biggest. So that's what I would have been putting some mortar on if I could. That one itself is probably around about 2 inches too wide. So as you can see by this, you've literally got about 1.25 inches there, and you've got about 1 inch that side as well. So strange, I'm not too sure what they're doing here. But anyway, I'm sure they know what they're doing. Fingers crossed. But anyway, the window man's going to come tomorrow and try and install. I'm not too sure he's going to be installing tomorrow, that's for sure. So anyway, that's the aim, so fingers crossed.